Hello and welcome. My name is Tavishima Ayede. I am the host of the podcast. I'm a former lawyer turned business consultant, and what I do here every day is I try to solve business problems. Now, for the last two episodes, we have been looking at questions from a listener of the podcast, and her name is Anu Oluwaseun Ogubanjo. She's a customer sales associate. She has been 4 months in the job, and she is in the hospitality space. And in the two earlier episodes, we looked at how some of their problems might be because of poor targeting and as poor targeting online. And we came up with some ideas for how they can improve their Instagram advertising. And then on the matter of price resistance, because since they're an expensive brand, when people hear the price for the first time, they shake. You understand that thing? So we came up with some ideas about how to deal with that. How targeting can improve that. If you're targeting the right kind of people, you're getting the right kind of people in store, you're getting the right kind of people on the Instagram handle, then chances are those kinds of people will not flinch. Or even if they shake, they won't shake too bad. You know, if you say 1.5, they will say, will you take, 1.3, 1.2? Not the kind of thing that you tell somebody your price is 10 million. They'll be saying, bros, you won't take 5. That kind of thing. So, we spoke about how we can use targeting to improve that, and then also how we can reduce price resistance, because since they're running advertisements on Instagram, they can pre-qualify, so they can put a price range in the advertising itself so that people have the right expectations before they reach out. So if I put up an advertising campaign and then I say, packages available for as little as 20 million, for instance, I will not expect that anybody who is holding 2 million will call me, because I said options available for as little as, so that people will see and they'll know that, if I'm not holding 20, I should not come forth. Maybe people who have 18 might come forward, but that's the whole idea about pre-qualifying. So if this is your first time listening to the podcast and you want to hear some of the stuff that was discussed in the previous episodes, after you're done listening to this, skip back one episode, listen to that one, then skip back one episode, you listen to that one, and then you'll hear the sum total of everything that we discussed for Anu. Anu, I beg, let me call you the short, because calling Anu Oluwakbo is kind of a tongue twister. And then plus, all the Anus I went to school with, all the Anua Oluwakbos I went to school with, everybody just called them Anu. Then, apologies, because today's episode is being recorded at home. It's a weekend, so wifey is home, the kids are home, so you get some noise in the background. If you'd love to connect with me, just like Anu did, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140 for questions, comments, or queries. Then, let's see what else. Okay, if you don't like listening to long podcast episodes, ask to be joined to the WhatsApp group. I'll do that. And then I'll send you the link, and then you can have PDF summaries there. 5 pages max. You can read it in 3 to 5 minutes. You're going to get the key takeaways of every single thing that we discussed, and you can just go ahead and apply them to your business and then start getting some business growth. Or if you're a professional salesperson, you can apply it, to your hustle, so you can start seeing results in good time. So this is going to be the third and the final part, dealing with Anu's questions. Now, you remember, for those of you who are coming from the last episode, you remember that Anu is selling a luxury something. She's a luxury brand. That's what they're selling. And you remember that I mentioned that when we were first gisting, me and Anu, the initial thing that came to my mind was luxury. Can you be selling luxury on Instagram? Because I wanted to be sure that there's not a mismatch with the particular channel that you're trying to use. When we're in sales, when we're trying to sell, this whole thing of congruence between the customer and the channel, very, very important. Very, very important. If you're trying to sell to one kind of person, but you're using a channel where those people are not, you have misroad. If you're trying to sell a certain kind of thing to some people, but those people usually hang out on TikTok, the very fact that you're advertising on Facebook, you have misroad. Because you can't be advertising on Facebook to jam a customer who is normally on TikTok. That is just what channel means. We need to find the right channel whenever we're targeting people. So I did a bit of research to try and figure out if you can sell luxury on Instagram. Because to the best of my knowledge, and of course, I'm not perfect, but this is how we learn, this is how we grow, and this is why I like taking questions from you guys, because, it helps me learn, helps me grow. So, because in my own understanding, Instagram is best for impulse purchases, sharp, sharp, sharp. Buy this cream, quick, quick, buy this one quick, buy that one quick, but nothing expensive, nothing luxury. So I did some research and I found out that yes, excuse me, luxury products can be sold on Instagram. And in fact, what I found was that Instagram has now become one of the primary growth hubs for brands like Gucci, Chanel, Cartier, and then Rolex. So Cartier, those are the wristwatch people, and then of course Rolex, those are the wristwatch people. So high net worth customers use Instagram, but listen, this is how they use Instagram, because a lot of us are trying to sell luxury things on Instagram, and we're now doing click now. If you're selling a luxury item, all this click now, buy now thing will not work because it is for impulse purchases. Nobody's going to see a Rolex on Instagram and then just do, click now. And then you start sending millions of dollars to who? You get me? I hope you understand. So, this is what Gucci and Chanel and Cartier and Rolex and all these other big, big boys and big girls, this is what they do. They use Instagram for brand discovery. Then they use it for trend inspiration. Then they use it for direct purchasing. I repeat. Number one, they use it for brand discovery. You go to show your merchandise, show your things, put out the stories, put out the this, let everybody just see you. Let them feel you. Make them feel your brand. You get. Then inspiration, that kind of thing. Then now, direct purchasing. It doesn't mean that from Instagram, they will click and do buy now. You have your link in bio, you have your website or whatever. They will click from there. And then it is from your website or from your, that they will now buy from you. It's not as if they will see Instagram advertisement and then they will click on Instagram advertisement and then buy. So, Gucci is not trying to run advertisement that will say click here now for 20% off. No, none of that. They'll be inspiring you. By the time this Gucci sweet you, you just click on the website. When you click on the website and then you see one or two things that you like, you discuss with your spouse. If you guys think it's up to it, you now go and buy. Or you now try and find locations in Lagos where you can find the Gucci stuff. You see? So, that's how these people do it. So, if, excuse me, you're trying to sell luxury on Instagram and your strategy is click here and buy now, you're missing road. There's a mismatch. There's a mismatch. In fact, what I'll recommend is just use your favorite AI tool, whatever your favorite AI tool is, then pick a brand, a luxury brand that you like. Okay? Let's say Gucci or let's say Rolex. And then you can copy Rolex website or whatever, put it in the AI tool and say, I'm in the luxury business. This is what I sell. I want to model my selling and marketing practices after Gucci. Give me some examples of things that I can do today to sell my luxury things over, sell my luxury goods over Instagram or, whatever. Then hit send. There'll be some nice ideas that will come up for you there. So just try it. Now, some of you will say, this guy, you're talking too much about AI. Is he not lazy? Look, I'm not being lazy. Right? These tools are very good research tools, and they're very good ways for coming up with ideas, coming up with inspiration. Then some of you will now say, hey, if I have this tool, what do I need you for? Very simple. You use these tools for inspiration. Then go and try and apply the idea. When you hook, you now come to a human being like me to help you unhook and get back on the right track. So that's what I'm here for. So I'm not here for ideas. So excuse me. And in fact, going forward from now on, any of you who reach out to me and you ask me, give me ideas for this, give me ideas for that, I'm not going to answer that question. I'll just tell you, go check AI. What did AI say? Sorry, forgive me. Lots of conversations yesterday, and then today I've already made a couple of podcast episodes, so my voice is tired already. So Where was I? Uh-huh. Yeah, so that's it. There might be a channel mismatch. So when you're selling on Instagram, you can't be doing hard selling, you can't be doing aggressive promotion because it will undermine your luxury status. When you're in the luxury thing, you're supposed to be a big boy, you're supposed to be a big girl. And the thing is, big boys and big girls, they don't hustle market like that. You are where you are. When people are interested, they will come and meet you. So the focus for Instagram is more about brand positioning and then exclusivity and then storytelling and all these sorts of things. Package yourself well on Instagram. You get. So the strategies for selling luxury on Instagram, Anu, is first of all your visual aesthetics. You have to keep it nice and how will I put it, high class. You get elevated. Because luxury. So this is about perceived value. So you need high production value. You get. So you see how I'm recording this podcast episode? I'm just recording it straight into my phone. When you're a luxury business, you can't be doing. You get. You can't be doing DIY kind of content production. We're talking high production value. So your photography, editorial style. If you're using video, close up, show the craftsmanship. There's a way that you package everything. Talk to all these people who do brands. Brand is not my specialty, but talk to brand people. When you just tell them, well, we want elevated visual aesthetics, they will do that thing for you. They'll package you well. Then, again, the focus is going to be on storytelling, not on hard selling. So if you're a luxury person, you can't be doing buy now, buy now, buy now, come here for 20% discount. Don't do that. No. So these brands that I spoke about, sorry about that. So these brands that I spoke about now, they emphasize things like heritage, like Rolex, for instance, and Cartier. These people have been making watches since before my grandparents were born. So that's what they emphasize. Their heritage, the craftsmanship, bespoke design, and all that. Then they talk a lot about their brand philosophy. So like all these other people, Chanel and Gucci and the rest of them, they have their whole philosophy about what it means to be sophisticated, what it means to be stylish, things like that. Those are the kind of things that they use the Instagram for. So now remember, Anu, I am not a brand specialist. I am not a marketing positioning specialist. So I can't really give you any more advice about this. So you have to look for the right kind of professional to talk to that will guide you on these sorts of things. But then using Instagram for buy now, buy now. This is the discount. Click here to take action before January 1st. Now that doesn't work when you're doing luxury. Then in-app shopping has to be seamless. It has to be seamless. That's one thing that all these big boys and big girls have done well. So the picture can be there. You like it. There's a way that they can click and then it will link them to the website they'll buy, or they'll buy directly in app. But that's for people who have already, how do I put it, have been an established brand. So like for Rolex, they're an established brand. Like they've been around since before my great grandparents were born. So if I'm on the verified handle, it's not that big a deal. I can just click through and then just buy this piece. You get. But these are things that you have to sort out. Again, this is not my area of specialty. So how do you hook up your website for online retail? I don't know about that. You have to talk to a web development specialist. Then how your website is going to be integrated with your Instagram, I don't know about that. That's not my area of specialty. So that's something you have to talk to another professional to sort out. Then let's see. Okay, so since Instagram is used as a discovery channel by these people, these brands, their sales strategies are more, how will I put it now? Should I say direct messaging? Kind of. People see something, you slide into the DM, you start trying to have a conversation. Their strategy is, having a human being available on the phone to offer a concierge service and then actually talk to someone to try and close the deal. Now, those of you who have been listening to the podcast since last year, you remember the sales rep who reached out to me from Nike You're the Nike sales rep. Now, the way that they set up the thing for Nike, I think it's Nike if I remember correctly. The way that they set it up is there's no official Nike shop in Nigeria. There is none. You can't go anywhere and say this is official Nike. They don't have. But I think they have a licensed reseller, a big distributor somewhere in Lagos. But then the guy that reached out to me, who is in charge of the sales team, the scope is like he's an online concierge, so that whenever people in, let's say somebody in Abuja, you see the latest, I don't know, Jordans or whatever, and you want to buy, and then you click through on the Instagram, the thing will actually go to him. The guy is based in Lagos, so he and his team, they're in Lagos. So they are the ones, concierge, you know what I mean by concierge now, as in like one-on-one, very tailored service. You're having a conversation with a human being and the person is talking you through a couple of options. So he'll be responsible for taking the order, educating the person, closing the sale, and then the thing will now be shipped to this person in Abuja who wants the latest pair of Jordans or whatever. And then of course, this is now in America, I don't know if Nike is a luxury, I don't know. But because of currency rate and all whatnot, in Nigeria, it is definitely on a luxury status. It's not a small spend. It's not a small spend at all. When this guy told me that people are spending like 500k on one pair of shoes, I wanted to die. I say 500k on shoe. Why? But anyway, remember, it's not about us. It's about them. This person who drops 500k on a pair of Nikes is because it means something to the person. The person values that thing. So it's not about me. It's about them. So for these people in the luxury space, those are the kind of strategies that they use. So Instagram and all that is more of a VIP treatment on direct messaging. You're in touch with a human being who is knowledgeable and who can educate them. So it's not just a matter of the person like, oh, do you have Nike Jordan something, and then they'll just send price list. No. We'll say thank you very much for reaching out to Nike International, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, sure. We do have a couple of them in stock. I hope you don't mind me asking a couple of questions. Are you a collector or you want to buy these things for everyday use? And then from there you begin to talk. What's the person's sense of style? What is this? What is that? So that at the end of the day, you can make some adequate recommendations. Like, oh, I know you actually called asking for the Nike, blah, blah, blah. But actually, we have these pairs that you think would be much more suitable to your style or to your this or to your that. Would you like me to share with you a couple of links? You have a conversation with the person. Direct messaging. In fact, I haven't told the person that, direct messaging is good and it's easy to track. But if you can hop off the direct messaging, if the person agree and you're on the person phone call, you're calling them direct, it's even better. It's just that, it's your credit that will waste. You have to find out how the company will reimburse you for your credit. But that's how people use this thing. So Instagram is the discovery channel. And they have a high touch sales process. That is human being to human being. It's not a matter of bot and stuff like that. One human being is talking to another human being. Private direct messages. It's a concierge consultation. That's what we call it. Concierge. Remember that word. Concierge consultation. So that's the scope. And so I know if you're really, really thinking about selling luxury over Instagram, these are some of the changes that you need to be making. So go and talk to your Oga. These are the changes that people need to make if you're really, really serious about selling luxury over Instagram. Then some of them also do curated influencer partnerships. So you get an influencer and you give them the brief, an influencer who aligns with that whole high-end lifestyle, people who reach affluent people, affluent demographics. So that's something that Samsung is doing quite well. And in fact, I told my wife I still a vex. I'm seriously upset with Samsung because Samsung, they've sponsored I Said What I Said podcast. Then there's also this creativity with I can't remember her name, one Igbo girl like this, they sponsor her own podcast to give them Samsung phone, blah blah blah. But it's because those are the people who lifestyle podcasts, for the young and the up and the coming and the trendy and the fashionable. and people who have disposable income. So those kinds of podcasts with those kinds of audiences. So Samsung has been doing that well, has been uh, has been sponsoring those people. And in fact, that Igbo girl, Creativity, although her own Creativity, she spells it, the Creativity, her own ends with TEA. Correct, babe. Igbo babe, very correct, babe. I checked her podcast. Like the last, how many episodes now? I think like the last 10 episodes, all of them, she found a way to put Samsung in the title. So she's really doing her work. She's doing it well. So these are also some things that people do. You get an influencer. We're going to come up with this campaign. You give them the brief. You now curate everything, package everything, and then you let them go ahead and do their content so that people will now discover you. So those are things that you can do as well. And like I say, this one is not theory. Samsung is doing this thing today. As of 2026, they're doing it in Nigeria. These two podcasts, I can tell you for sure. I said what I said with Jola and what's her name. So there's one time that Samsung even gave them this what do you call it? This V fold, the one that folds like book. I said I wanted to die. I say yeah. See Samsung giving this babe sweet phone. Meanwhile I'm here. Samsung is not calling me. What the hell? If you work with Samsung, I beg, talk to your guys now. You guys should hook me up. Then also Creativity, but spelling the Creativity, spell it with a TEA. I can't remember the lady's name, but she's an Igbo lady. So once you search Creativity ending with TEA and you see an Igbo name, just subscribe and then listen. You get the point. Then what will I say? Okay, then finally, this one mistake that I see among some people. Some people want to sell, whether they want to sell luxury or not. They try to make platforms. They try all the platforms. Advertise on Instagram, advertise on LinkedIn, advertise on Google, advertise on TikTok. Like, calm down. Relax first. Relax. Sometimes we're struggling to get customers because we're trying to blast all these things at the same time. So don't advertise across too many platforms in the beginning. Just choose one and establish your selling framework first. Lock it down first. Then the one that you learn, you now adapt it to other platforms. So I hope you guys are not making that mistake with your company. Figure out this Instagram first. When you figure it out, okay, no problem. We can now roll out to TikTok and then all that. Don't have too many campaigns at the same time. So I think that's just it. I think that's just it pretty much. Let me see. Let me go through the message because it's 22 minutes. I don't want this thing to drag on for too long. Yeah, I think that's just it. So Anu, that's all I have to say on the questions that you raised so far. On the thing you spoke about running two businesses at the same time. Look, in my own opinion, it's not a good idea at all. And I already raised it in the podcast episode that I did before I started tackling your episodes. So now what you do is, Anu, since this is episode 3, you will skip back 4 episodes. Okay? So after this one, you skip back 1. That's part 2. After that one, you skip back again. That's part 1. After that part 1, you skip back. The episode before that, I already went into this whole thing on why running 2 businesses at the same time is probably not a good idea. But of course, it's a qualified response with a caveat. So listen and you will get everything there. So if you'd love to connect with me just like Anu did, the number to call to send a text message or a WhatsApp message is 080-6466-2140. And if you don't have time for long podcast episodes, then ask to be joined to the WhatsApp channel. I'll send you the link. There you get the PDF summary, not more than 5 pages. You can read it in 3 to 5 minutes. You get the key takeaways, apply it to your business. And when you have a bit more time, when you're at the gym, on the treadmill, then you can key up the podcast episodes and then start listening. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you all at the next episode. If you're having fun so far, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, subscribe, and then share it with other people who will get value from the podcast as well. So I'll catch you all at the next episode. And Anu, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. Okay, well, we didn't do business. It's been a pleasure trying to sort out your business challenges. So I hope you find some good nuggets here. And I really wish you all the best with your business. So my regards to your colleagues. Share this episode with them. And I'll catch you all some other time.